left with instead of 6-4, so we can have more time. So welcome, and discussion is steering through the storm. I think it talks about the COVID storm, opportunities and challenges for the financial sector. Am I audible, all of you?
Not very clearly, Tamal. Maybe
Your
speak a bit louder.
Audible now?
You're audible, but your voice is cracking up, I believe.
Yeah, that is very low. You're missing it.
Oh, I can hear you clearly, so Sethi, is it better now?
Yes. This
is it better now?
Yes.
Yeah, it's better?
Much better.
Yes, much better.
Okay. So, well, so this talks about the opportunities and the challenges, and it's very carefully crafted. We have bankers, we have insurance, and we have Mr. Sethi. I don't know, Sethi, how do we describe you? I mean, you represent a payment system, we say, or what?
So, Tamal, I would say you can say I represent the fintech industry and whatever is being provided in terms of digitization of the banking ecosystem.
Fine. So yeah, and a payments bank. So for Rishi and for Suresh, it's a big time. I think it's a big opportunities. While for others, bankers and insurance, probably a bit of a challenge. At least that was the case till recently. Things are looking up. So let's do in a simple way first. We'll each of you give us a sense. Give us a sense what's happening in your area. Maybe a few minutes. And then we'll get into some specific things. And let's start with our CEO of Prime Ma'am. So all of us will be interested to know. We fairly know what's happening in India, but in your area, can you give us how do you look at from a banker sitting in your chair? What's the COVID scenario, and is the worst behind you? Give us a sense. General comment, and then we'll get into all of you will get this general comment start, and then maybe probably we'll get into the specific. So we'll start with Prime Bank.
Thank you so much. Thank you, the organizers, for inviting us in, and thank you and good afternoon from Dhaka to all the other participants of the panel. As you may know, I mean, more or less, the India subcontinent is behaving almost in the same manner. The unwanted guest who arrived about 6-7 months back, named COVID, is still behaving erratically. Since you mentioned that whether the worst is at the back of us, I don't think it is. I mean, I would say the worst hasn't. I mean, we haven't gone past the worst, but what has happened is, for the first 3-4 months, the debate that we had, that whether it's the life or the livelihood has taken over. So if you come and visit Dhaka or any nooks and corners of Bangladesh for last couple of months, I would say.
Your voice is gone.
Am I audible?
No?
Yeah.
Yes, clear.
Hello.
Thank you.
Tamal has a problem at his
We can hear him, Tamal. We can hear him.
Tamal, we can hear him.
So if you come and visit Dhaka or any other metro cities or any nooks and corners of the country,
can you hear Mr. Ahmed? Yeah.
It wouldn't kind of give you a feel that anything as such is existing. I mean, definitely in the major metro cities and other areas, we see the masks being worn. So that's the only thing that you see. Otherwise, the livelihood has taken over. So the business as usual for last almost 3 months now. Personally, for myself and my colleagues in the bank, like I myself, between 25th March till first week of September, worked straight from home. I mean, didn't come to office at all. But from September first week till now, it's like I'm coming to office on a daily basis, and so is all our colleagues, almost all our colleagues. The first few months, I mean, the government declared a general holiday or lockdown, as we may call it. What we did, I mean, we were not prepared, like anyone else all around the globe. We were not prepared at all how to, tackle the situation and everything. So this work from home thing was a long cherished desire, possibly, but that kind of became the new normal. And we, in our bank, I can give you a flavor that we have 3,150 people in the Prime Bank family. And first couple of months, first 3 months, as a matter of fact, we worked with only about 20 to 22% people coming to the office. The rest of them, all the rest of them were working from home, and without compromising any service or efficiency or anything, as we may say. As a bank, our response has been well acclaimed, not only in the local industry or local financial market. Euromoney acknowledged or recognized us in the Asia region alongside CTNA and HSBC for the response in COVID, and we were given a special recognition award for the year 2020 by Euromoney. So in terms of COVID response or how things are looking at, as I said, that the economy of Bangladesh, as you may know, that has been doing phenomenally well over the last 7-8 years at a row. This year also till March, things were looking extremely bright. Obviously, with this sudden halt in business for initially for a few months, that kind of jolted us, but it's kind of getting back on the feet now. And as Asian Development Bank and other multilaterals, they're all projecting that Bangladesh would be one of the very rare economies in Asia or South Asia who would be back on feet and will be doing much better than the peers. So I think I could give you a little bit of flavor about how things have been going around here. Tamal, we can't hear you. You are on mute. You got to unmute yourself.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you are.
But unfortunately, I don't know. I'm just making a blind call. I can see all of you, but I can't hear. There is some. I really don't know what even Mr. Ahmed spoke. I'm just making a blind call. Let me figure out what I can do. But if you can hear me, Mr. Sethi, I understand you are leaving very soon. You need to go out for a meeting because of a delay. So can you give us your sense, because I think while for others it's a problem, but for you it's a big opportunity in the digital space. So tell us.
Sure, Tamal. Tamal, thank you for giving that opportunity. I know I'm just a bit short on time. I had committed for another meeting, but clearly from an opportunity perspective, I think the pandemic has actually accelerated the process of adoption of digital in a big way. Because whether we talk about our own experience in working from home, which a lot of us have adopted over a period of time, and we are seeing large companies which have changed their business model and people are operating from home, and whatever was required to enable that capability to reach the same level or equivalent level of efficiency, that has been one big change in the way industries and organizations are operating. The other big thing I think clearly came from the fact that a lot of organizations have now started a digital first adoption. And I think what we are seeing very critically, that what would have taken years for a behavior change, due to the pandemic, some of those behaviors are changing at a very rapid pace. Clearly, we are seeing organizations which had digital technologies, which would have otherwise extended over months, or which were programs which would have got implemented over years. They are getting truncated and shortened to be implemented in a matter of weeks in order to meet the challenges we see over there. I would like to largely comment on the larger ecosystem. If we look at, as Mr. Ahmed rightly said, if we look at the Indian economy, I think one of the worst hit sections of the economy has been in terms of the gig economy in India. As we see that almost 70% of our people are working in an informal workforce scenario. And when we look at this set of people, they don't have a social security, they don't have the ability to have any sort of income protection. And how do we make this economy relevant? How do we make sure that they're able to sustain themselves? And digital is playing a very big role, whether it is in terms of benefits reaching out to these people, whether it is using tech to enable some parts of this economy. We talk about the tech gig economy, which is covering the entire sections of mobility. It is covering the sections of Kirana, the retail networks out there. It is covering the MSMEs. So I think digital is going to play a very strong role. And as an organization, since we are focused on largely creating the e-governance infrastructure for the nation and for the industry at large, I think this does bring a huge opportunity on the table. And today, the way we are adopting technology, the way we are looking at interoperability between institutions, and we'll talk about it more at length with the rest of the panelists around. But that is really going to be a sea change in which we see things developing over a period of time. So it is a huge opportunity, yes. And I think digital will be a huge solution provider to us as we go forward. And behaviors will clearly change in a much more faster manner rather than taking time to do so. Thank you.
I think Tamal can't make out whether we have finished or not.
Rishi, you want to start then? I think we should just do the rotation between us till he comes back.
Yeah, I think that's better. So let's go ahead. Rishi, over to you.
Okay, thank you.
Now and then Vishaka, and then we carry on.
Yeah, this
time Tamal starts it out.
in another panel, the same thing happened. The moderator could not log in, and the panelists managed the moderator piece as well. So I think we'll have to do the same job. Obviously, we can't do as good as Tamal Da, but we'll try. So continuing with what Mr. Ahmed said and what Suresh mentioned about the fact that the COVID actually has created a lot of opportunities, and I think between the life and the livelihood certainly is at the center stage right now, and the economy is coming back, and the pace of the economy to come back is not as expected, but just definitely it's opening up now. From our point of view, when we look at in the Fino ecosystem, the first few weeks were really very dramatic, and all of us were taken into a big shell in a way to understand how the situation will evolve. But as the situation became more and more clear, and especially because of the fact that rural was largely unaffected, and the large section of the population, which is the underserved and the people who are in the lower income categories, their incomes did not get affected to a large extent, at least as far as rural India is concerned. So to that extent, Fino ecosystem did not get impacted to a large extent. In fact, COVID has created more opportunities for us. Something to what Suresh was saying, the digital first or the digital economy, the way we are looking at. And in COVID, what we say in Fino is we're creating opportunities in virus infected days. So we are looking at how we can target more and more customers, whether it is for the government benefit or whether it is for the general ecosystem play. One thing which we have seen in post-COVID world is the change in the consumer behavior. That the consumer is now moving away from doing banking through a branch and an ATM network. What we are seeing is the ABC of banking. The ABC of banking, I mean, is alternate banking channels of banking. That I think is taking a lot of prevalence as far as customer is concerned. Going local, going digital, I think these are the two big themes which the ecosystem is now developing and the customers are preferring. We have seen that the customer who used to come to us during April and May months, and the branch ecosystem was not up, the ATMs network was not up, continue to come to us and continue to do banking with us through our merchant ecosystem. We have more than 300,000 merchant ecosystem in the country, and those ecosystems are being now used for normal banking rather than more of a stress banking or a no choice banking. So people are coming and doing banking through our network by choice, not because there is no other option. So that's one big change which we are seeing in our ecosystem. The second big change is the adoption of digital piece, both especially at the urban end, we have seen a bigger adoption. But in the rural also, we have started to see people through assisted digital mechanisms coming and starting doing transactions and then moving on to a digital platform over a period of time. So I think COVID will definitely change the way we look at businesses. Will definitely change the way we look at organizations, the structure in the organizations. I think, to me, two, three big messages which comes out in COVID is that we have to be very, very technology focused. I don't think so there is another option for any company or a bank not to be technology focused. I think technology is going to take the center stage. That's the only way where you can continue to invest. The second is that you have to focus on people and culture. And because especially in a work from home environment, when you're not meeting people very frequently, culture takes a big hit. And even people who have joined us in the last few months, we have hardly met them physically. And that is where the social piece of the entire organization gets impacted. That is another area where we need to continue to invest ourselves on. I think the third area for us especially is that we have to relook at the fixed cost model per se, and that is something which we are very fortunate that we have a very highly variabilized cost of doing business. But post COVID, looking in the uncertainties which can come and in the future as well, because we are seeing a second wave coming in Europe and in some parts of Asia, Southeast Asia also. So we don't know how long the situation will continue. So third thing which we have said is that we will be very wary of fixed cost and also looking at how we can variabilize our costs to the maximum level. I think those are the few messages from our side. We are one of the beneficiaries of COVID, as Tamal mentioned initially. Our business have actually scaled up. We at the bottom line also we are making more money and we are making more profits than we were doing prior to COVID. So from that point of view, it's been from a business point of view, yes. Compared to the initial scare which we had in the first 15 days, it's shaping up quite well. The organization is much leaner, much stronger, and we hope that COVID will transform our lives in a more permanent manner. Our behavior changes will happen more permanent, and we'll be able to do such conferences across the globe very easily, very seamlessly, sitting from our office rather than traveling 3 hours each way to do such conferences. And I look forward to comments from my other co-panelists. Thank you. Hi, Tapan, maybe you can start now in terms of, because both you and Vishaka are from insurance, and you can tell us about your experience on insurance side, and then Vishaka can add to it.
Yes, thank you, Rishi. Always a pleasure listening to you. But how much time do we actually have when it starts? Since the moderator is not there, let us actually ensure that we don't burden the viewers too much.
I think we have another 20 minutes or so. 20. I think we started about 3:10 or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So 20 minutes more. No, then it's good. Then I think one more round we can have. We'll request Vishaka. No, as obviously first, and then I go in last. So Vishaka, we can't hear you. You're on mute.
Yeah, thank you, Tapan. Always a gentleman, right? And my chairman also in the CI committee. So, yes, it is. When you think about life insurance and then you think about COVID, the one aspect or the one word that really stands out is uncertainty. What is it that's most worrying about COVID? The uncertainty. You go to office one day, somebody is diagnosed, you shut office for 2 more days, you have to kind of sanitize it and get people on again. And it's unpredictable, it's uncertain. You don't know how long it's going to continue. If all of us were told that, it's going to be the next 3 months, we would all adapt to it so easily. If you ask one major component of COVID and why it is wearing down people, is wearing down people because of the uncertainty, because you don't know how long the road is, you don't know what the end is, you don't know what's going to pan out. And when you sit down to think about it, it can kind of be very, very wary on you. Life insurance, it's supposed to be the master of uncertainty. Why do you take life insurance? Because of uncertainty. right? You don't know whether you will be around to be able to plan for your own children's future. You're not sure about the mortality, morbidity. You're not sure about income earning capacity. And it is to manage this uncertainty of life that life insurance is in place. Now, one would think that uncertainty of COVID, uncertainty of life insurance should all marry together, and life insurance should be the most happening industry. And probably from a customer perspective, it is. From a customer perspective, suddenly risk management has taken top focus. It's hitting them hard to see that they don't know what's going to be happening in future, and they want to insure. And life insurance companies, which thrive on making stochastic modeling, which thrive on building models for the future, suddenly are finding themselves at a very, very uncomfortable place because they have no data on the basis of which to make any prediction about how to price COVID. We have no idea. People say, oh, just look at data. Your data is 3 months old, 6 months old. And how do I make any kind of a planning on the basis of data? So life insurers have been faced with one of the biggest challenges of them all, and that is on how do you price COVID risks. There is a pull. There is every newspaper and every forum which talks about the pull of the customer and how life insurance companies should really use this opportunity on creating the pull. And I'm saying, yes, I think we're extremely happy that there is a certain amount of nudge that is now started. There is a certain amount of awareness that has been created in the minds of the consumer. But pull by a customer in these points of time is also got to be looked at from what is the anti-selection, what is the scope of fraud, how do we know that this customer is safe when you're insuring it. No, because as they say, there is a saying in non-life which is very easy, right? You can't insure a building on fire. Similarly, you cannot insure a person who already knows the certainty of when the mishap will happen. We insure uncertainty. People say death is certain. I say, yes, death is certain. We're not insuring against death. We're insuring against the uncertainty of death. And that's what the insurance is all about. But if there are people who are already certain because they have some problems, how are you going to start weeding it out? How are you going to prevent anti-selection? How are you going to make sure that you don't get insolvent because you've not been able to price your risk properly? So the challenges for life insurance have been enormous. And reinsurance companies are supposed to be the experts in terms of helping you price. And COVID has really stumped even reinsurance companies. Reinsurers are also unable to figure out how to price a risk against COVID for the simple reason that we don't have data. So your guess is as good as mine, maybe a little more educated. So when you look at it from an overarching point of view, the common theme of uncertainty and guarding against uncertainty has created a certain pull towards life insurance. Life insurance company, I think we are extremely happy to see that there has been that awareness increase in terms of risk management, in terms of a realization that it's a good thing to talk about from a risk management perspective. I think where we're really struggling is how do you kind of cash in on something like this, or how do you meet the expectations? This is not like a sanitizer business where you just say, okay, fine, I'm just going to start producing more sanitizers because, there is a pull for sanitizers, because there is no downside in selling more sanitizers. There is a downside in selling to a customer whom you have not really screened. And that is a very, very unique problem for the life insurance industry, to say that how do you screen customers? How do you make sure that you are insuring against uncertainty? And how do you meet the expectations of the customers? And how do you actually rise to this opportunity? These are some very, very compelling questions that we've been forced to ask ourselves. As an organization, we have taken a risk. As an organization, we have said that the death due to COVID cannot be more than the death due to natural reasons, or maybe marginally higher. We have made some assumptions and we have gone ahead and offered insurance because we believe that this is the time when insurance companies have to step up. We believe that insurance companies need to be able to take risk and step up and say, here, we are there for you. Because if you don't do that, then you're not doing your moral right. You're not doing what your purpose for existence is. As on date, our experience has been reasonable. In the past 6 months, since we've been offering both products in terms of hospicash, that is on diagnosis, a guaranteed amount, and in case of death, the experience has been reasonable. But honestly, uh, we are sitting on a book when we are watching to see whether our assessment is right, because we have no
Tha-
trend. And I think that's been a very, very unique situation for life insurance companies.
Thanks, Vishaka. I think Tapan, you have not yet spoken, right?
Yeah, Tamal, I was
Yeah,
waiting for
you
you.
have not yet
I'll speak
spoken
only when you come
because
back.
it's all got into a little bit of problem. There is some work outside, so my connectivity there's some issue. I don't know. So my apology for this, Tapan. So we heard
No,
Vishaka and Tapan. So why don't you tell us some concrete things? Because what she said, it's a bit of a theory. The challenges are there. We are living up to it or not. But our interaction with your industry, we all hear that it's a big opportunity for the first time, which he hinted at from a push product it is becoming a pull product, and there are opportunities to innovate, and a lot of things are happening actually in your space, which on your own you are doing. Bankers have been doing by told by governor, reserve bank or ministry, but in your case you are doing to expand your footprint. So can you give us a sense?
so first and foremost, Tamal, I'm very proud to be an insurer in India. See, in COVID,
Yeah.
and Vishaka mentioned, no, there's no RI support. I think the industry went forward and provided COVID cover. Very few people do that. We already have over 3,000 crores of claims which has come in for COVID. And like she said, the pricing was something which nobody got it right. I think first time when they priced, and now what the pricing is supposed to be is way off. I've not seen the industry back out of it, and that makes me very, very proud now to take things head on and provide support to people when required. That is something which is very good, and we should talk about it, because a lot of time people talk about negativity of insurance companies, but I have seen that insurance companies in times of need have always stepped up and been there. Now, coming to the pull kind of product, it's an interesting question, and this is something which I have been trying to figure out for many, many years. So, whenever you have a cyclone or an earthquake, immediately after that, for the next 15-30 days, the awareness level and the pull is high. After that, it's back to the level where it was before it happened. Now, will COVID make a behavioral change? Is what the interesting part is. So as of now, if I look for health policies, yes, the pull is there. People are buying health policies, but if I look at other policies, it is normal. Like be it automobile, there's a bit of a slowdown in automobile. There's a negative growth. If I look at fire, if I look at other lines of business, doing fine. Health, yes, the pull is there. People are buying, and they're specifically buying COVID policy. Now, again, it's a very interesting phenomenon, because if I look at if you have a chance, why would you not buy a full health policy? COVID is related to a specific illness for a short period of time, and it gets over. No, the awareness should actually translate to getting into
Yes.
something which is there for a long time. But COVID policy sale has moved up considerably in the market. Now, digitalization is something also which is very interesting. I think before COVID, a lot of us had digital tools, but the adoption was very low. In fact, I was so frustrated, Tamal, I had gone to Singapore, and Singapore is a country where you actually watch, a high level of digitalization happening. And there I saw 95% was
Yes.
on paper. Even insurance was on paper, 95%. In COVID, the shift was amazing. We issued close to 10 million policies, all digitally. We settled close to 50 lakh claims, all digitally, So companies which had digital tools, for them, the transition was very smooth. And that was something which was very good. Our grievance ratio dropped by 90%, so straight on. So I think what clearly shows that adoption happened. It happened overnight. There's not much of a push required for that. Companies with good digital tools did that. So now what I see is industry is actually working on a lot of digital tools in terms of how do you make contactless care. How do you provide care which is contactless? How do you settle claims without documents? And the regulator is supporting very strongly in that. If you have seen the amount of regulations which has come on health policies and on digital and on paperless in India has been phenomenal. I think that is something which is very, very creditable. So my personal belief is, because COVID is there for such a long time, it is leading to behavioral change, in consumers, in the industry, and a lot of things which people are talking about for the insurance industry is happening now. So to answer your question on a very firm basis, if you look at for another 3-4 months, you'll actually see insurance companies evolve to a very different place from where they started before COVID. So it's a huge opportunity for the industry, and I think they're living up to it, and they're doing a phenomenal job. On the if I look at the only problem which I feel currently is what I think Rishi and Ahmed also mentioned in their talk, is the social distancing and the office on rotation and people meeting less. In the living human memory, Tamal, nobody has seen a crisis in a long time. I think more than COVID, the mental health pandemic is going to become huge. No. Now, mental health, if I talk about generally, yeah, it still looks very far, but it is going to be in your own office, in your own family, and if I may put it like that. So in an office where you have staff which was used to meeting, super excited, you motivate people, you're go-getters, suddenly for days together, and even you meet also, you maintain distance, wear mask, you hardly talk, even you smile, nobody sees if you're smiling or not smiling, I think it is just that you have just conversation to the point and it's over. Yeah. Now, this to me is where the bigger challenge is also coming in. Now, the insurance industry, this also has ramification in terms of how product you design. How do you look at providing service to people if they go through this phase? Because as I always say, as an insurer, we are paid to do good, but we should be ahead of time. Yeah. We should be able to see what's going wrong and how do we add on to that. Yes.
Tapan, just one thing for the audience. I think this mental health currently in India, it's not covered by the insurance companies?
No, it is covered now. If you look at it, the regulator in about 6-7 months or close to a year issued circulation that all policies will cover mental health. And that's what I'm saying. When this is coming through, how do you define it? How do you create awareness? And how do you ensure that people don't hesitate to reach out if they have an issue? They have a policy that's covered. And the only thing I want to add here, since this is a forum in which we can reach out to many people, is if I look at health policy, every individual should be having it. Now, the government has ensured that people below poverty line are covered. 40 crores Indians are covered by that. If you look at the top layer, 5 crores, 6 crores are covered. But the middle layer is where the missing piece is, and it is not expensive. A COVID cover for the whole year costs just 700 rupees or 400 rupees. What does it cost? Nothing. The servos, the insurance company should be crashing. That is the kind of people should be looking for it. And with all this coverage of mental health, they should actually look for a good health policies for themselves. So that is something which you're trying to create awareness about. We see a lot of seriousness on other issues happening as industry. That is what's happening.
Thanks, Tapan, for raising actually extremely important. I have not heard. First time I'm hearing an insurance industry person talking about how important will be mental health from an insurer's perspective. And there should be, I'm sure, IRDS sandbox will be full of ideas. People are coming up. People will come up with ideas and all. So now we have about less than 10 minutes left. And in the second round, maybe 2 minutes each, Vishaka is around or she has dropped out? Is Vishaka around? I can't see her. Okay. If she's not there, so you get more time, maybe 3 minutes each. Can you give us, and Rishi will start with you. And Ahmed sir will end with you. You started and you will end. Because you also have we heard the IMF story yesterday. The per capita GDP, Bangladesh will overtake this year India. So you have the right to be the last, to have the last word. Okay. This thing is, can you tell us, basically, we are discussing the opportunities and challenges for the industry, banking industry, payment banking industry, insurance industry, so on and so forth. But opportunities and challenges within the organization. I think the organizations also, all of you are undergoing a change which is for good, like it is not, like working from home, getting more productivity, cutting down the cost. These are the positive part of it. But on the other side, how, as you rightly said, how long can you continue? A dynamic guy who comes to office and mixes with people and have tea and coffee and who roam around and get his inspiration from others and all. So those things are not happening. So on the one hand, yes, you are cutting cost at the operational level at various ways. You are going contactless. You are getting more productivity from people. They can live in distant suburbs, so on and so forth. But on the other hand, there is an end to it. Probably it can't be. So can you give us, Rishi, is it the new order or is it temporary or how is it? Where are the opportunities or where are the challenges in this running an office? I mean, running an organization.
So thank you, Tamal.
2.5 minutes each.
Thank you, Tamal. In fact, on the first part of this panel, we covered the opportunities and challenges more on the business and the economy
Yes.
point of view. Now, if we
Yes.
come closer home and come to our offices, in fact, offices and home also. In fact, now if you ask me at home also, I have my son who have to attend his online classes. I have my wife who has her own job, and there are only limited space which is available. So everybody is taking some space in the home, and there is a problem at home also. So actually, if you ask me from an organization point of view, the biggest challenge which is going to come over a period of time is the culture challenge which is there, especially because people like I, as CEO, and I'm sure for everybody, we drive our powers from our people. When we are with our people, when we are in with our team, is that point we drive our power, and that motivates us, and that's how we keep the organization going. But when you are not around with your people and you have to work from home for a longer period of time, then you kind of get disconnected with your people in a way. And when somebody does well, you have to pat his back. Now you can't pat his back. You can probably have a event when you clap for everybody, and that's how it goes. So the memories are also very limited. So for us, the biggest challenge is in terms of how do you continue to build up this culture of working from home or working from office. In fact, working from anywhere. Now people have taken up, they moved out of their homes in Bombay, have gone to their native places. Could be somewhere in Madhya Pradesh or UP. Now calling them back to office would be a difficult task because the families are concerned that how can they travel from a particular place to Bombay because the cases in Bombay are higher. So all those challenges are there. So the way I look forward in terms of as the companies will have to evolve, they will have to evolve a hybrid kind of a model. I don't think so. We will have a model which will be completely work from home or completely work from office. So you will have to empathy will take has already taken a precedence over everything else, will further become more amplified, is that we will have to show a higher level of empathy towards our employees. What would it mean?
Okay.
It would mean that we have to leave the choice to the employee whether he wants to come to office or whether he wants to work from his home. But people who are in collaborative roles, people who are at senior roles, they have to come and talk to the teams, they have to come and mix with the people, and that's how the sales and other businesses can flourish. So
Okay.
we have already
Yeah.
6 months, maybe a few more months, but definitely I look at collaborative roles coming and working from office, and maybe standalone roles could continue for a longer period of time from home.
Okay. So the key is empathy and evolving scenario. Tapan, tell me what's your take? What are you in your office? Yeah,
Okay,
Tapan,
so
can you hear us?
yeah, I can hear you, Tamanda. So first and foremost, I think the point Rishi made is that it has to be where you have to give options to employees in terms of be it work from home or are you going to attend office. You can't have a clear-cut division because I remember initially when it started, people excited to work from home. They thought of productivity, they thought of points that you mentioned. They're very excited and they thought this is the way forward, no? And they started talking of cost cutting. But I think towards the later half of it, now people are not talking about work from home as very exciting, I think the mindset is shifting. People are still not talking about, looking at space of collaboration of these discussions are happening. So somewhere in this journey, I think the excitement of work from home has come down. But I also believe once the lockdown and other things gets evened out, people would prefer to have a hybrid of both, working from home also to save time and also, to attend office to see how it puts in. The new structure would evolve from employee perspective there. Second, from a customer perspective, also, I think a structure which is evolving is that the customers today don't want to see people. I think the popular joke is earlier used to say, ki, Tamal, I'm coming over to have a cup of tea with you, and I would ask you for business. Today, I would say, better give me business or I'll come over for a cup of tea. I think so times, that is the kind of change which is happening now. But I think, again, there'll be a mix where you'll have high amount of distraction happening. But at the same time, people would prefer to have somebody to have a conversation with. I think, how do you marry the two is where the learning is, and how do you put it together, which makes it very powerful for customers and for employees, is where the opportunity lies. I think organizations are doing it, putting this story together and able to serve digitally at a very high pace, but have the emotional empathy, be it for customers and for staff, are the ones who will succeed. Going forward, Tamal, that is my belief.
Mr. Ahmed, can you give us a sense what's happening in your country, Dhaka?
Thank you. I mean, it's almost the same, I would say, because we all belong to the same subcontinent, and India and Bangladesh is no exception in terms of the social structure or how we believe or how we think through the things and everything. So primarily, it was also very kind of a jubilant mood or a jovial mood was here in terms of the employee behavior that, it's a long cherished desire. We can work from home and everything. And after a while, it started kind of getting, I would say, not in terms of efficiency, but the I like the word Rishi used is the empathy. I think that is the biggest key word here, which started lacking to a certain extent. You at times you actually you need to physically feel the pat on the back, or whether you are the employee or the supervisor, you need that physical contact at some point of time. Just to give you a flavor, like for our organization, I would say that definitely cost is an issue, like any other organization all around the world. We have a bit of a unique situation on top of the COVID scenario. We have a bit of, as a bank or a financial institution, the central bank had given a ruling in terms of lending interest rate cap. And it all coincided at the very same time when COVID kind of entered our horizon. So from 1st of April, we have a lending interest rate cap. So for all the banks across the industry, 30 to 35% top line has eroded since then. We were we still are under a tremendous pressure in terms of cost optimization. So when you have COVID as well as lending interest cap, so where do you optimize your cost? I mean, some of the people or some of the banks have cut down on the salaries of their employees. But for my organization, I can say that I work with, what we have done is that we have started optimizing on the premises, and definitely work from home has helped us in that respect. In about next 6 months, as we speak, by February 2021, we'll be releasing roughly about 100,000 square feet workspace as phase one. And we are creating the virtual office and all these things just to run the things efficiently. And from the customer's point of view, Bangladesh being a very millennial dominant demography as we speak, because the median age is 28.4 years. So what we are seeing is that there is a huge transformation in terms of the customer behavior, and they are accepting it very, very with open arms, that the digital propositions, I mean, using all the digital channels for all sorts of banking services and products. Definitely, there is hardly any physical meeting that takes place when we are talking about the wholesale banking space. I mean, the corporate or commercial banking space. The CFOs are very much used to, Zoom meetings or Microsoft Team meetings and, all this stuff. So from the customer's point of view also, unless and until you are dealing with, the micro enterprises or small enterprises, it's the challenge where we face that challenge in terms of customer interaction. Otherwise, the retail clients are also, welcoming the digital channels. And
thanks, Sam. We are running out of time, so I just want one sentence each from you. I know it's you can't do a crystal gazing because it's a health issue, and everything depends on when the vaccine comes, so on and so forth. But I just want to understand, Mr. Ahmed, just one sentence each. Are you seeing things getting better? And if it is yes, do you see we will be seeing near normalcy when it comes to your business? One sentence each. First, Mr. Ahmed, then Rishi, and finally Tapan.
Given the current situation as we speak, not as yet, but maybe the way things are going, by mid 21, we would be close to the near normal.
That's what July, August, that one.
Absolutely.
So we are
still
we are still about 9 months away, you were saying.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, Rishi.
Yes.
Rishi?
As far as our own bank is concerned and business, I think we have not impacted much. We are
Yes.
more beneficiaries of COVID, so to say. Digitization and micro payments have gone up. From a general economy point of view, I think the goalpost is changing. In fact, earlier we used to hear September will be back. Now we are hearing March and June. It is very difficult to predict when we will be back because a lot of it will depend upon the vaccination on a general level. But I would say, rather than more general, I would say some industries will take some time, but
Okay.
largely industries are coming back. In fact, I was on holiday a few days back to Goa, and the flights were full, the hotel was full. So people have started to go back and enjoying. Started to go back and see what can be done during this situation. So social distancing were maintained, but yeah, some industries may take a bit longer time, but most of the industries should be back by March or
Okay.
so, by my understanding.
Okay, thanks for taking a holiday in Goa, because travel and tourism is the most hit. So you are helping them actually coming back to normalcy faster. Yeah, Tapan, Singhel, you have the
That
last
was
word.
Tamala. That was one of the other reason to go also.
Yes.
You
Yeah,
sponsor us
Tapan.
also, Rishi. Then let's help the economy through you.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, Tapan.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Tapan.
no,
Yeah.
my personal belief is, no, if I look at uncertain times of these levels,
Yeah.
I don't try to make a guess in terms of when things go normal. What I try to see is on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, what all can I do where I seize the opportunity of the crisis, to transform business. How do I see behavioral changes happening? How do I redefine business? How do I find people create an organization which is a happier, healthier place to be in? And how do we lead the organization and the country going forward? It's very difficult. Like Rishi mentioned, no, you keep on seeing dates, September, March, May, June. I think the issue is we're eternally optimist. So things will improve. Like that is very clear. It is not that no, we'll continue like this forever. This is not going to happen. Things will improve. Spanish flu took 2 years, is what I hear. No, this is already getting close to a year now. And like Ahmed mentioned, 1.5 years he's saying. So if I go by Spanish, for example, 2 years, no. So instead of focusing too much on how things will get normal, I think my obsession right now is how do I ensure that I use this opportunity to do the transformations, and make things
Thanks.
much
Yeah.
better for my people. And
Yeah. Thanks, Tapan. We have actually exceeded our time. We don't want to follow the hours who had done and exceeded their time, and that's what we started late. I think it's a very happy with this optimism we should end. Talking about economy, I had a trip to Kolkata, a personal trip. What I found is this: I was told that real estate is picking up. People are buying. People have started buying homes for their usage. I was talking to some doctors and other professionals. They are saying they are getting back to more than normal business kind of thing. And when I coming back, flight was full, and most of them are the migration, the laborers who are coming back. And I was told that they're all construction workers, and actually many of them are taking their flight for the first time in their life. They have been paid everything, and they would be getting more money once they are back. That's what they've been told. So to summarize, my apology, I missed a part of it, so I could not exactly summarize the way everybody spoke. But I think it's very clear that there are opportunities and there are challenges. And none of you, whether you are a banker or insurance entity or in the payment space or in digital space, none of you are sitting idle and just leaving it to COVID to take its shape. All of you are fighting it out and seeing the opportunities. Insurance becoming from a push product to pull product and more innovations. Rishi is saying there are things are far better for him than what it was. Mr. Ahmed is saying that there's a interest rate cap by the central bank, and that has hit his bottom line. But he's not undeterred. He's not cutting people's salary or asking people to go. He's finding other ways by surrendering some of the real estates to cut cost and stay alive, stay fit, and do better. I think that's the spirit that's more important. And I think all of you, irrespective of which segment you are in the financial segment, are ready to take on COVID and move ahead, move forward. With this note, thank you. Stay safe and have a good evening. Thank you.